vaults. Easily one of, if not the most, identifiable characteristic that comes to mind when you picture the Fallout series. A place where naive Americans went to seek refuge from a painful death by nuclear fire. Yet many of the vaults were in fact an experiment. Can we use white knives to make super soldiers? Will people follow the word of one leader their whole lives? If we tell these Egypts to sacrifice one another periodically like a bunch of murderous pagans, will they throw aside their morals and do it? For many of these vaults, the answer was no, and they all shot the bed at one point and went tits up. But they all served a purpose, either to see how well people survived, or to further the advancements of science. All except one vault. Vault 77. Vault 77 does not make an appearance itself in any Fallout work. It is, however, considered canon. It is strongly referenced at one point in Fallout 3, which we will look at towards the end of the video. But for now, we will look at the main source of information about the vault. The comic that was written about it and details the adventures of one unfortunate sod. And some puppets. The story opens with tales of several other vaults, such as the cleverly named Vault 69, where women outnumber men 1,000 to 1, and Vault 43, where it appears the goal was to see how long 20 men and 10 women could survive against a panther? Yeah, but it's the last panel that interests us, the one about Vault 77. The man in question seems to have been led to believe others would be in the vault and, as a result, starts to panic when he realizes this is not the case. 4 months later, he is a complete broken down sob, sobbing uncontrollably. After a year, he discovers the puppet rations hanging around the vault. Though the question has to be asked, what in the fuck did he do the last 11 months? In a space of about a month, he goes from experimenting and acting out some simple scenes to very complex ones, and at this point, he seems to identify with the puppets. Let's just hope this is all he used them for. Eventually, he begins associating life with the puppets, and begins to hear one of them talk to him. Now, whether the puppet is actually talking and is some fucked up creation of Vault-Tec, or the man is just slowly losing his grip on reality, and associating life with the puppet so he has someone to talk to is unknown. I, however, think it's the latter, as he has clearly already went off the deep end by this point. Soon, he associates life with all the puppets, and after a hole is ripped in the king one, he suspects the Vault Boy puppet, which is the only puppet that does not have its associated text leading from the man but from the puppet itself. The puppet tells him that they did it, though the man clearly has no memory of this, and tells him that they need to leave the vault to escape persecution by the other puppets. I want to just stop here and point out a few things. The first is that, due to the talking puppet and memory gaps, I assume the man has developed a split personality disorder, and is projecting it onto the puppet. He is so deep inside his own delusion at this point that he even believes the other puppets might hurt him, even though he still gives them their voices, which would suggest he knows they aren't real. But he doesn't. Fucking moron. So at this point, my conclusion to this vault is that this was a test to see how long one individual could stay sane with no human contact. The only contact would be the artificial contact created through the puppets. So the goal was most likely a test of the human psyche, when presented with only one means of contact. That, or someone just wanted to fuck with someone for the rest of their life, which, knowing Vault-Tec, is also a completely plausible explanation. Now, the vault door does not seem to have been locked, and as a result, they decide to set out. However, they encounter a massive fucking rad scorpion and sensibly decide to wait it out until morning, instead of making a hasty decision that they may well eventually regret when they are being brutally mauled. We begin to see some of their adventures outside. Somehow he manages to tame an ant, though to be fair, the antagonizer managed it as well. She too was mad as a bag of spiders. Maybe insane people can control ants, who knows. Next, he meets a ghoul, and we get a reminder that while he was alone, he had all the comforts he would ever need, and he was not trapped inside his vault. He was free to leave whenever he wanted. Next, our scatterbrain protagonist has been captured by a group of cannibalistic raiders. He tries to tell them that Puppet is crazy and he has taken a life before, though remember this was only a puppet. At this point, I want to point out that we haven't actually seen the puppet talk in quite a while, as in it's been our main lad lately, whether it has been an ant or talking to the ghoul. However, the madness is still with him, as in the next panel we see a scared shitless raider trying to warn his gang about the deranged man, and how he feels they are being hunted by him, which turns out to be true. The last scene shows our puppeteer standing amongst the butchered remains of the raiders, having stalked them back to their hideout. He seems to have torn them apart with his bare hands. The text then tells us the vaults weren't meant to save anyone, which we do know to be the case, most of the time. So he was an innocent, presumably man, who was thrust into a world of puppets and violence. He developed a split personality based on the puppet, a murderous one to allow him to survive the wasteland. But then, why is Vault 77 seen as canon? Well, it's because it does exist in the game universe. Within Paradise Falls, you can go to the Slaver Barracks. Inside, on the shelf directly opposite, is a Vault 77 jumpsuit and a holotape. The jumpsuit gives +5 for melee and unarmed combat, which would make sense as it is how Puppet Man killed, by smashing people's bops in. The holotape contains an argument over the suit, and that it should be destroyed.
Like I told you, man, I don't fucking know where it came from, but it freaks the boys out. Some story from a while back about a stranger with no name. Just get rid of the damn thing. Ain't no good gonna come from keeping it around. Besides, if it is his, maybe he'll come back for it. Comprende?
So he wants to get rid of the jumpsuit as it makes some of the men uneasy. The reason for them shitting their britches is that there's a story, a tale of a man with no name. He wants the suit destroyed because, even on the off chance that it's true, he might come back for it. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Just like our batshit crazy protagonist, a man with no name, from Vault 77, who has a habit of mangling raiders and slavers to death. The last question one could ask about all of this is timescale. I mean, the guy left the vault a little over half a year after he went in, so how could the rad scorpions and ghouls already be a thing, as it took at least half a decade for them to develop into what we know today? Also, would the radiation levels have dropped low enough to go outside? Maybe, maybe not. You could just chalk it down to a mistake on the part of the individual who wrote the comic. But I have another theory. I think more time had passed. I mean, Fallout 3 takes place 200 years after the war, and yet they still know of this man. Now, I doubt he is alive unless he became a ghoul, but if it was him telling us how long he was inside the vault, inside the comic, maybe it wasn't 1.5 years, maybe it was 10 or 20. Who knows how long he wandered in the wastes for? He doesn't seem to have aged a lot, but how can we be sure? Perhaps he was out there for much longer and his name spread, as did tales of his savagery. As strange a vault experiment as we have ever seen, a baptism in fire for this man, whose mind was shattered during it, but he came out as something more, something mad, something that legend would echo on throughout the wastes even a century after they had left this earth. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, like, share and comment. Want to get all my videos on time? Subscribe to my channel for more great content like this. Want to talk to me? The best place to do so is on my Twitter at thenthapple. If you have some feedback for the video or suggestion for your future one, please by all means leave it in the comment section below. If you want to help my channel grow, share my videos on as much social media as you can. I am quite active on Reddit, so if you want to support me there, you can find a link to my account in the description, as well as the playlist of a few other series that, if you enjoyed this, you will surely like. And I hope to see you in the next episode. And goodbye.